Now it happened in Iconium that they went together into the synagogue of the Jews, and spoke so effectively that a great multitude of both Jews and Greeks believed. But the unbelieving Jews stirred up the Gentiles and poisoned their minds against the brethren. So they spent a long time there, speaking boldly for the Lord, who bore witness to the word of his grace, granting signs and wonders to be done by their hands. But the people of the city were divided, and some sided with the Jews, and some with the apostles. And when an attempt was made by both the Gentiles and the Jews, with their rulers, to abuse and stone them, they became aware of it and fled to Lystra and Derbe, cities of Lycaonia, and to the surrounding region, preaching the gospel there also. Now at Lystra a certain man without strength in his feet was sitting, a cripple from his mother's womb, who had never walked. This man heard Paul speaking, and Paul, observing him intently and seeing that he had faith to be healed, said with a loud voice, "Stand up straight on your feet." And he leapt and walked. Now when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the Lycaonian language, "The gods have come down to us in the likeness of men." And Barnabas they called Zeus, and Paul, Hermes, because he was the chief speaker. Then the priest of Zeus, whose temple was before the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates, and wanted to sacrifice with the people. But when the apostles, Barnabas and Paul, heard this, they tore their clothes and ran in among the people, crying out, and saying, "Men, why are you doing these things? We also are men with the same nature as you, and preach to you that you should turn from these vain things to the living God, who made heaven and earth and the sea and all that is in them, who in bygone generations allowed all nations to walk in their own ways. Yet he did not leave himself without witness, in that he did good, gave us rain from heaven and fruitful seasons, filling our hearts with food and gladness." And with these sayings they scarcely restrained the people from sacrificing to them. Now there were Jews from Antioch and Iconium who came there, and having persuaded the people, they stoned Paul and dragged him out of the city, supposing him to be dead. But when the disciples gathered about him, he rose up and went into the city, and the next day he departed with Barnabas to Derbe. So when they had preached the gospel to that city and made many disciples, they returned to Lystra, Iconium, and Antioch, strengthening the souls of the disciples, exhorting them to continue in the faith, and saying, "We must through many tribulations enter the kingdom of God." And when they had appointed elders in every church, with prayer and fasting they commended them to the Lord in whom they had believed. Then they passed through Pisidia and came to Pamphylia. And when they had preached the word in Perga, they went down to Attalia. From there they sailed to Antioch, from which they had been commended to the grace of God for the work which they fulfilled. And when they had arrived, they gathered the church together and reported all that God had done with them, and that he had opened the door of faith to the Gentiles.